Welcome to this ministry video from Muswell Hill Baptist Church. Today we're looking at verses 18 to 20 of Matthew chapter 9. And this is what we read. A synagogue leader came and knelt before Jesus and said, "My daughter has just died, but come and put your hand on her, and she will live." Jesus got up and went with him, and so did his disciples. Just then, a woman who had been subject to bleeding for 12 years came up behind him and touched the edge of his cloak. She said to herself, "If only I touch his cloak, I will be healed." "What kind of man is this?" asked the disciples on the Sea of Galilee, recorded in Matthew chapter 8. "What kind of man is this that even the winds and the waves obey him?" Today, we're thinking of Jesus in relation to these two stories that we have just introduced. And we're going to use this phrase to describe him, a phrase probably unique to this video, that he is a power carer. Now, there are lots of power things, power lifters, power brokers, there were the Power Rangers. But when we think of carers and we think of power, they don't seem to be things that go together. And like a lot of things, well, they don't until we come to Jesus. And Jesus, the man who is able to still the storm because he is also God, is also a supreme carer and uses his power in the restoration of a dead girl and of a woman who has been for many years afflicted by an illness that the doctors could not cure. In these stories, we see Jesus' greatness once again. The same kind of thing that the disciples saw on the Sea of Galilee. What kind of man is this that even the winds and the waves obey him? Here is a man whose daughter has died. But he believes that Jesus can still do something. Jesus is great enough to even deal with death. And here is the woman who interrupts that process of Jesus going to the synagogue ruler's house. And although she is not dead, she has one of those conditions for 12 years, which would have made her ceremonially unclean and would have left her very isolated and totally despairing. But Jesus has the power that nobody else has, that her body itself does not have, the power to restore her. He has the power himself. He does not have to pray to God for the power. The power is part of who he is. Jesus is just on another level entirely. That's what the men in the boat knew, and that's what happens here. What Jesus is able to do is completely different to what other human beings have been able to do. And it is his own power because he is God and man. So his greatness is something we cannot miss in these two little stories. But it's not just about his greatness, it's about his mission. Why does he use this power? Now, in the temptations of Jesus, the devil tempted Jesus to use his power in the following ways: to turn stones into bread so that he could get a good meal without having to go and buy it, so that he should cast himself down from a high place in the city so that everybody would see and think how incredible it was that he could jump off that ledge and survive. Or that he should just do really what the devil says and become extremely powerful by having the power to be the king of the whole world, of every nation in the world. How wonderful would that be for the Messiah? That's what he came to experience, surely. But Jesus understands the devil's trick, and that all of these things are not to do with his mission. They are not what God has brought him into the world to do. He has been born to save. He has come to seek and to save that which is lost, or as we heard in another video, he has come as the physician, the one to help those who are sick, who are in need. He has not come for those who think that they are all right. And therefore we see in this story that Jesus' power is harnessed for two situations. One, a woman who is isolated, and the other, a family that is desperately hurting because the daughter has just died. And that's where Jesus' power is to be seen. He has come for those who are in need. And it's true the world through that those who are rich and powerful have seen little of Christ's power. Even in his own life, when Herod called him in to do some miracles to just show what a great guy he really was, Jesus would not address it. When Pilate asked him questions, he found it difficult to get Jesus to even speak at all, though Pilate was the Roman governor of that part of the Roman Empire. You see, Jesus was not there for Pilate and for Herod. He was there for the people who knew that they had needs. Now, in this way, the mission of Jesus is an important qualification of his power. He didn't come to do tricks. And if our view of Jesus is, oh, well, if Jesus would just make that church tower fly up into the sky and come back down again, then I would believe. If only Jesus would appear in the sky with pink wings and do some somersaults and then go back to heaven, I would believe. But Jesus has not come to make an impression. He has come to save. And these people who have faith in him before his power is expressed, who trust in him first, they are the people who experience the extraordinary power of resurrection and restoration. You want to see the power of Jesus? Well, maybe you could go and work with the poor. Maybe you could work with those who have nothing. Maybe it's in going to the places where the power is needed that the power can be more clearly seen. It is touching power. And in both these stories, in the way that Matthew tells them, it comes across very clearly. The synagogue leader who came and knelt before him says these words, "But come and put your hand on her, and she will live." Put your hand on her. He wants Jesus to touch his dead daughter. And he believes that the touch of Christ will bring her back to life. And then you have the woman who wants to touch the hem of his garment, touch the edge of his cloak. And she believes that if she touches the man who has the power, then she will be healed. And Jesus' power is seen in this most intimate of ways. Not, you see, primarily out on a lake with a great storm, although he has the power to still the storm. Not on the great mountain of transfiguration where his true divine glory was glimpsed by the disciples who were with him. Not even when he feeds the 5,000 or the 4,000 with all of that food produced from almost nothing. The real power of Jesus is seen as he touches lepers, as he touches the eyes of the blind, and as he both literally and metaphorically touches people's lives. May God grant each of us to understand that Jesus will touch our lives, that when we are at our most limited, and maybe when others stop touching us because we are too ill, too alone, too unloved, the touch of Jesus comes to us and restores us. And for all of us who say we follow Jesus, it is important that we follow him into ordinary people's ordinary lives. This is the kind of man that Jesus is, the man whose touch can make us whole.